Hey Kendall, this is a demo video for you for your creepy uncle. Finally got all this buttoned up today. This is probably one of the more challenging hilts I've ever done. First of all, I usually do these videos with that light behind me off, but I've got a lot of explaining to do on this guy, so we'll start with that on so you can see everything that I'm talking about, and then I'll turn that off. We'll go with the desk light a little bit and turn that off so we can finally get to the blade. But let's start on the outside. So you got your switch buttons right here. Your front button towards your LEDs is going to be your activation, and then this button down here is going to be your auxiliary. You do have your stock NeoPixels in there with the LEDs. This does come apart in three pieces. First you have this part right here. Unscrew this. This was what holds your battery. So I had to do a lot of sanding on the back end of this chassis to get it to fit into this metal piece, but it's in there really snug. Almost want to say that things probably not coming out, but that's how it was designed to be. And then you've got your connector right here. But I did put a little bit of super glue in here in this battery channel to make sure that all of those wires stay in place. They're down in the wire channel pretty good, but since you don't have any room in here for anything, just a couple drops of super glue held them down real nice. This battery compartment is really tight, so when you put your battery in, I did scrape the outside of the battery just a little bit, popping it in and out. I imagine that's something that'll wear itself out a little bit as you go, but just be aware the diameter of this battery chamber is very tight. So, and I'll show you how to pop that battery in here in a second, because it does take some force, more than I felt comfortable with at first, but then after I got used to it, just know that that's part of this. So that's one piece. Then comes your second piece right here. Between this piece and this piece screws off. We'll screw it off carefully here, and then I don't know if you can see them in there, maybe a little bit. Those pins right here are going to be what connects to here and gives your speaker and battery connections to go up to your board. So as we unscrew this, you're going to notice here, when we take this off, again, connections here to lock into your pins up here that give your pixels and everything power. One thing you'll notice here is I did not put any kind of adhesive or lock your board down in any way. I wired everything from the bottom, so you won't see anything up top except for two small wires that I jumped my negative pads with. Other than that, everything is wired from the bottom. Try to make it as clean as possible, but one thing about that is your sound card is on the bottom of this board. So for that reason, I didn't adhesive anything down to the chassis, so that you could take this board at any time, just bring it up, get your SD card in and out, pop it back in, and then just kind of squish the wires back down. And then you'll actually want to put this board in place like that. Hold it with your finger right there as you slide that in, and then once you get the front of this board inside this chamber, it's not going anywhere. I chose to do that so you can get to your board a little bit easier. You might choose to do something a little bit differently. If you did want to put some adhesive on that to lock it down, I would push this board down exactly where it goes, take some electrical tape, put some adhesive on the sides of your board, take some electrical tape, wrap it real tight, and let it sit overnight if that's something that you choose to do. But that was just a judgment call on my part. So there's that. And then I have your OLED screen right here. So let's go back to the battery. Get your battery right here. Your positive end is right here. It's going to be towards your speaker. And then this little guy right here, that clip right there, that's always going to be your negative side. So we're going to pop this in. Like I said, you're going to want to go, you don't want to go sideways or crooked like this or like this first. You want to try to get it as straight in as possible. Secure it in your hand and just press down. Just like that. And then when you think almost when you think you don't want to push it anymore, push it a little bit more, and then it'll pop right in there. That is a tight fit, but it's not going anywhere. So we're not going to put this on quite yet because I want you to see that your OLED screen works. So I'll turn this light off behind me. And being that this stays in this pummel cap, I made sure that everything was exactly where it needed to be orientation wise. So we're going to slide this in there and screw it in. And you're going to see that it's making connection.
To the dark side, then perhaps she will.
So you can see it made its connection very well. And then when we turn it on, you can see your LEDs working really well. I'm going to turn it back off real quick. OLED screen comes on when you go to your sound fonts. So to get to your sound fonts while the saber is off, hold down your auxiliary button until you hear this.
Sound bank selection.
A small rebel force has penetrated the shield and landed on Endor.
And then you can cycle through with your activation or your auxiliary.
Crystal focus.
Nebula.
Granny.
Pause. Revolt. Shatterport. The Old Republic. The Old Republic. Shogun.
Young Raymond.
Nightfall.
Audio player.
A small rebel force.
Then when you
has
find one that you
penetrated
like,
the
hold
shield
down the
and
button.
landed on Endor.
You will bring Captain Solo and the Wookiee to me.
So now that we've picked a sound font that we like, you can see that the LED screen is working. We're going to go back to the board and we're going to hold it down like I was talking to you about a second ago. Just make sure it's nice and straight. There's a shelf in there where the board fits right in, so you don't have to guess. And then what I do is I just hold it right there with my finger. And I take this and I slide it on. And right when I get to the front of the board, all the way through, then I can let go. Because from there, it's not going anywhere. It doesn't have any room to go anywhere. So we'll just screw this on. You don't have to go super tight with it. When you feel it that it's giving you some resistance, go ahead and stop. One thing about these pins that makes me a little nervous, because I've never done that before, is when you got these pins out and then you've got your plate and they butt up against the pins and then you start twisting it like that until those pins are all the way engaged. You don't want to put too much pressure on those pins because they might snap or bend off to the side. So when it starts giving you some pressure, let loose. Now you can see, we'll turn it on and you can see your stock pixels. Smooth swing. Tap for blaster deflex. Hold it down for blade lockup. You can see your LEDs working. I don't have a full length 1-inch blade, but I've got this guy for testing. So we're going to throw this in. You do have a blade retention screw right here. As far as my blade goes, I don't have to use it, but in case you ever need it, it's there, and those pins are down there as far as they can possibly go. So went ahead and took this guy out for you. This is something that you'd use if you're running in-hilt LEDs. Garbage, but I'll send it back to you. And then of course, your blade plug that I'll send to you as well. Let's pop a blade in it. I just go straight down until it stops. We'll turn the light off. Activation. I didn't go down all the way. There we go. Tap for your blaster deflex. Hold for blade lockup. Now when this saber is on and you want to change color, hold down your auxiliary button and twist your wrist like this.
Spectrum.
Now you can twist your hilt. Keep twisting it until you find different color that you like, or any color that you like. Let's go on, let's try blue. Then just tap a button when you find one that you like. Now I gave you 32 different blade profiles or blade effects. So to get to those, hold down the auxiliary and twist your wrist again, but keep the auxiliary held down.
Spectrum.
Keep holding it.
Blade profiles.
Now let go, and then you can twist your wrist again. Slowly, you can hear the saber click as it cycles through each blade effect. We're just going to cycle through a few of them here. And then when you find one that you like, let's get to one that's pretty cool. We'll stop. Just tap the button. And then as long as the battery stays in and you turn it off, it will remember that color and that blade effect when you turn it back on to that sound font. Flash on clash. So we'll turn it off. And we'll take this out. Tight fit. So you might choose to sand your blade down, or maybe not. Maybe it's for a thin neck saber to have that tightness in there around the blade. It's a pretty good deal. So anyway, sir, that is your hilt. Thank you for your business. I'll get this video all loaded up and sent to you, and then I'll get this sent out in the morning. Thank you.